A lot of people describe you as a Swedish-Angolan actor. How do you describe yourself?
Well, I describe myself as, a Swedish-Angolan filmmaker, actor, producer, mentor, big brother, and also one of the favorite kids of my parents.
Are you the first?
No, I'm the middle child.
The middle child.
I have two younger brothers and 3 elder siblings.
Wow.
Yeah.
Take us to the very beginning. How old were you when you came to Sweden, and how did this love for acting begin?
Oof. To make a long story short, I was born in Angola, but when I was 2 years old, we came to Sweden actually. So my parents, they left everything in Angola and moved to a new country where they didn't know anyone, they didn't even speak the language, they didn't even have the network, nothing, just to give the children a better opportunity in life, if I can say it like that. And we came here to Sweden, left the sun, the culture, the food, everything. But they had a vision, and the vision was that they wanted to give something to the kids that they didn't have themselves. And we came to Sweden when I was 2 years old with the whole family, and I've been here since then. And the first time I was back in Angola was actually in 2018. So I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've been here for so many years. But I've been to Gambia, I've been to South Africa, I've been to other countries before. But coming back home is a different feeling. You understand? And I was supposed to go back earlier together with one of my best friend, Eric Jaime, but he died in cancer.
Wow.
So that's why.
So sad.
Yeah, that's why it took a little bit longer.
Oh.
But the first time I was back was in 2018, together with the Swedish embassy, actually. So Lennart Chilander invited me to come to Angola to celebrate the Ingmar Bergman 100-year celebration. So they wanted to have a Swedish filmmaker actor
Who's from Angola?
from Angola to come to Angola to meet the locals over there, the filmmakers, artists and everything. And I've been going back since then. So the question is, why acting?
Yes, you know, from what I learned about you, like you said before, out of camera, I'm saying it here, you never really studied acting. You dabbled into acting, and you are dedicated to the process. Tell us how it began for you.
You know, when I was young, the first thing that I was dreaming about was to become a football player. You know, Thierry Henry in Arsenal.
Yeah.
That's my team, you know, and I always had a big love for football. When it came to acting, nah, because growing up in Sweden, you didn't even see black people on the television, in Swedish television, and the only time you saw black people was in roles like criminal, refugees, you understand, like all the stereotypical roles. So
Yes.
for me, thinking about working in the theater, working in Swedish television, or working on the Royal Theatre or opera, it didn't cross my mind because I couldn't see myself over there. But one thing that I loved to, like, this is something that my sister saw. Because when I grew up, she saw that I liked to imitate Michael Jackson, Eddie Murphy, and other famous people. So she told me, like, David, you know what? You should actually try to be an actor, or you should try to do like a part, like an extra, you know, the people that goes in the background in television. And I was like, I don't even know where to start. And she said, well, there's some pages online where you can go, where you can find some jobs. And I was like, okay, let's see. So I went to the web page, statist.se. I looked at the different jobs that I had, and one thing that I noticed was the only people they were looking for was like white man, white teenager, blonde hair, blue eyes. There were no parts or a character that looked like me or that I felt represented. So what I did was actually that I applied for one of those. I was like, just let me see what's gonna happen. And the casting director called me up. She was like, hi David, you don't fit the part, but I like the energy you have. There's something with you that is interesting. So she called me in. I came to the shooting place. We did a commercial for a coffee brand. And what I noticed during the whole shooting was that I had really fun time. It was like I was sitting there for 8 hours doing my parts, analyzing the head actor, and I felt like, you know what, I think I'm actually capable of doing exactly that. So after the shooting, I was like feeling encouraged to continue on this way, and I went back to the website, but it was the same problem, the same character. There was no part that fitted me, nothing. But then suddenly, 6 months later, I saw an open audition for a TV show called Familjen Babajou. So they were looking specifically for black actors that are gonna portray a family from Uganda. And I was like, okay, this is it, let's go. So I went to the open audition, and after a few weeks, I got the part. And I think it was around 100 people auditioned for the same part.
What year was this?
This was 2016, no. Wait, I need to go back. This was 2007 or 2008.
Yes.
Because I was 17 years old when I got this part.
Okay.
So it was the first one. And then we shot the TV show. It was really fun. For me, it was the first time working on this level, and I had the lead part, and I didn't even understand like what level it was on. For me, it was like they picked me up from Ubru. I came to a location. We shot the scene. I went to school, did my test, and then back to shooting, and then back home and everything, like for a whole 2 months, more or less. And then 1 year after, it was released. And it was so fun to see because you had this black family on Swedish television on prime time, and a lot of people saw it. And we also got nominated for Best TV Drama at Kristallen. And for me, it was like, wow, this was like my breakthrough. So from now on, I was like, okay, football, I will put it on the side, and this is something that I'm gonna pursue. And I thought that now, like my career is gonna explode. Like now I'm gonna get parts that is not gonna be stereotypical or criminal. But what happened? The only parts that I was offered was exactly that. They were like, hi David, we need somebody like you that can play the bad guy. Hi David, we need someone like you that can play refugee. Hi David, we need somebody that looks like you that need to speak like broken Swedish, that doesn't speak Swedish well. And I'm like so confused. And after a while I got tired. I was like, but this is not what I wanted to do. I just want to play normal characters, like complex character with a different story and drive and agenda. So the only solution was to start produce myself.
So you started making your own movies?
Yeah, because the thing is, often when you wanna get a foot in the industry, and there's a structural problem where when they look at black people, the first role you get or the first role that you're offered is often to play criminal or stereotypical roles. And the problem with that is that you're gonna end up in a box. And when you end up in that box, it's hard to leave. But at the other side, you also have like, you need to do something to have a resume, and you also have like your rent that you need to pay, so you need to get your
bills.
money, you know, the bills and stuff like that. So it's like, it's hard. But for me, it was more like when I started to notice the pattern, and when I saw that this is not healthy, that this is actually dismantling and hurting the agenda that I have, and also the picture of black people in Sweden, I didn't want to be a part of that anymore. So for me, I needed to start to learn how to produce, because I had a character that I wanted to play, but to be able to play that character, I needed to write the story. And to write the story, I needed to learn how to write. And to be able to do the story, I needed to know how to produce. So I started to get in touch with people that I've been working with out through my career. And I got in touch with Sebastian Lagerqvist, director, that we've been working together earlier. So I told him, like, I had this project that I want to do, and I want you to direct it. And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, it's about this, this, and this, and this, and we're gonna shoot it in Jublo. And for me, crossing different worlds and culture and people, that's one of the things that I love. And he liked the idea. So we gathered a team, we worked together with a lot of friends of mine and also a lot of big names in the industry. We shot the short film in Jublo for like 1 week, and several months later we was actually, it's crazy. So when the film was done, we applied for several film festivals and got in a lot of them. Like one of the biggest one, we was in New York, Gothenburg, and so on. And it's so crazy because we won actually. Wow. Best director, best actor, best script, and we won gold for best film.
Wow.
And that for me was
your first movie ever.
Yeah. Wow. And that for me was like
an encouragement.
Yes, it was like, okay, we're doing something unique, we're doing something good, we're doing something that we believe in and that people actually like. So for me, for only being an actor, now I became a writer and a producer, and I understood that if I want to do impact or change or be able to bring the stories to life that I have, I need to be the producer or the writer, because the voice is stronger and the way I can have an impact is so much stronger on this side. But for me, the goal has always been acting. But when you are the only black one in a lot of rooms and you are one of the few black writers, producer, director, it becomes like a responsibility that you also want to take care of. Because for me, I wanted to be the change that I didn't have or I didn't see when I grew up. And I don't want to be the only one in those rooms. So what we did after the first short film was that we continued. The next year we did the same thing. And it was the same thing with the festival and the nominees and the awards. And after that it was like the world is ours. But still, with the problems that we are facing in the industry, because
yes, tell us about those problems, the challenges.
Because you need to understand that you have an industry where you have a lot, like majority of the people working in the industry have a perspective of how people are and also what type of roles some people should play. And it's always like if they see brown people, black people, it's always in the same category. But for me to be able to fight that, I was really outspoken about, if you want me to play a criminal, then you need to be like Denzel Washington in Training Day, because there you have the world, you have a character, it's something else. But when you have like a police show where everybody are like playing characters that are hero and everybody's white, and then you have only one black people that are the only one that is aggressive and the criminal and don't have anything complex. I'm like, what is that? What are you trying to tell people? Because the medium to use film is strong. And you can send strong messages. You understand?
Yes.
So I started to say no to those parts because I was like, I want to play a dad. I want to play doctor. I want to play like a normal guy. And that started to happen. So with the career, it started to shift. So I was in the Christmas show, Kalendern. I was playing in like the love interest in another film. I was playing dad in another project. You understand? Playing doctor. It started like growing. And then I was on a world tour with Unga Klara. So we went on a theater tour to Turkey, New York, we went to South Africa, and also to Beijing. Amazing. And then I was also playing on the Royal Theater in Sweden.
So you started playing in the theater?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was in the theater, and now I started to get headhunted for several projects. And also the connection with Angola became bigger now.
Yeah, you traveled to Angola?
I traveled to Angola 2018, like I told you,
yes.
So this is afterwards.
Yes.
Working closely with Cinema Africa Film Festival.
Yes.
sitting in the board also. And for
Yes.
me, always connecting the dots, you know, the
Yes,
bridge,
yes.
because that's how I move. And for me, it's important to also showcase everything
Yes.
that I have,
Yes.
and also where I come from, and also how my community looks like.
Yes.
And what was so beautiful was that my acting career, like it took it to
Skyrocketed.
it took
Yes.
it to the next level.
Mhm.
But at the same time, with everything with the writing and the producing stuff, it also like took it to the next level.
Yes.
And suddenly I got headhunted to produce a feature film for Via Play
Wow.
called Glacier, and afterwards I received development funding from Swedish Film Institute to
Wow.
write on a feature film that takes place in Jubro.
Wow.
And I pitched the project to Warner Brothers. They took it in, and
Wow.
during the same year I got offered to produce one of the biggest Swedish television crime show called Maria Wern season 9 for
Wow.
TV4. Crazy.
Wow.
You understand? So like at the same level, at the same time, things were moving forward. And also in the middle, I had the project with Angola that also took it to the next level. Together with Cinema Africa and Lena Chilander, we also got the opportunity to invite filmmakers from Angola to come to Sweden and hold like workshops, screening at Cinema Africa and stuff like that. And now we're working on a feature film that takes place in both Sweden and Angola, and at the same time working with a workshop film concept that we're gonna introduce next year. And we're also expanding on the diaspora, so working together with South Africa, Kenya, and now also Rwanda, and hopefully going into Nigeria and Ghana soon. So for me, it's always like everything that I've been doing, I always
Yes.
want to make
Yes.
sure that we can take it to the next level,
To the next level.
and also involve people, because I don't want to do this alone. You know, it's
Bro,
it's
I mean, I'm so happy. Your story is such a unique story. Is it always the case that for an actor to make it to the top, you have to pick and choose your roles? Otherwise, you will be a middle player or maybe a lower player.
The thing is, in Sweden we have something called jantelagen,
Yes.
and it means that people, like, if you stick out too much, people are just gonna get confused, and if you do too much, people are getting confused because they want to put you in a box and you need to be on the same level. But that's also a way to minimize someone with huge potential. So for me, it's more like, if you're capable of doing so much more, why
Do
shouldn't
it.
you do it? Do
Yes.
it. I mean, for me, I started with acting, and then we went to producing, writing. I also received a scholarship from Anders Sandro Stipendium. It's one of the biggest one in Sweden. And at the same time, I was part of putting together one of the historical success that ever been on the Royal Opera House, the ballet called Gustavia, about the Black Prince of Sweden.
Yes. We'll get to the
Understand?
ballet.
Yeah.
We'll get to the Gustavia story next after this question. You've risen so high in the acting career. How have you been able to use your opportunities to lift other black artists, other black actors and actresses who are coming, who want to become like you?
One thing that I always told people is that I don't want to be the only one, and the door is always open. So there's been a lot of people in the beginning of the career that have been reaching out, and we've been talking, helping, guidance, and then some people that I also had opportunity to bring on some projects. And then you also have other filmmakers that are doing their own projects, and sometimes my production company has been the production company that produce the short films and so on. So for me, like, we have a movement that we're trying to continue with, and also with the work with Cinema Africa is growing. So that's one thing, that out through Cinema Africa we're trying to expand and help so many we can, actually.
So right now we see only your face, to tell you the truth. We see only David Nzinga, and then we'll be like, who's the next black actor coming up, you know? Are there some names that you can bring up in this interview that are also looking the part, that you think have the potential to rise up, to be the next Nzinga?
No, of course. We have a lot of black actors and actresses here in Sweden, and also filmmakers, actually. Ahmed Abdullahi, we have Durin Nagaraye from Uganda, and a lot of more people that are also been following closely.
Okay.
So people are out there, actually.
Okay. Okay, good. Now let's delve into your opera film. Or your opera play. Is that opera play?
Yeah, ballet.
The ballet.
Yeah, at the
called
opera.
Gustavia.
Yeah.
How did you even delve into that? A lot of people would have been saying that maybe this is too big a project. How were you able to piece it together from a black man?
That's the thing. This project has been with us for many years. So Amir Shamdeen, the writer and the director, we've been working together since many years ago. And I remember when he pitched this project for me, and I was like, what? So I've been growing up in Sweden without knowing about Gustav Bedankushi. I didn't learn about him during school time, history class, and nothing. So there's a famous black man, and there's a portrait of him in a museum. He's been living with the royal family, and I don't know, I didn't know anything about him. What do you mean?
Yes.
How? Because I was thinking, if I grew up knowing about him, I think I will move differently in Sweden. You understand what I mean? Because having that confidence and also feeling that you're seen, and that's there's been a person before you on this level. You understand? So when we talked about this, it was like, yo, you need to read more about him. And for every year, it came more and more stuff about him. And when we understood that this is based on a Swedish story, like a real story. He lived with the royal family, and there's a notebook about him, and his history about him continues to grow. I was like, we need to do this. And Amir Shamdeen, he's been so great because the vision that he had, amazing. So when he pitched it to the ballet, it wasn't even a discussion. They were like, he was a ballet star, we need to put this up. And of course, this is huge. But I also know that with the system and the structural problems that we have, if you want to bring a story like this on the stage or film, you always need to be so huge. You need to be so unique that no one can say no. And that's the sad part, because they always need to be at that level that is like, what? For us to be able to tell stories like that, and it shouldn't be like that.
You have to be really exceptionally great.
You understand, always.
Yeah.
But when we understood the vision behind it, the story about him, we were like, no, we need to put this up. And it was, of course, something unique, and it was a lot of challenge because we haven't worked with the Royal Opera House before. I haven't watched a ballet before. So translating the story into a ballet was fun work.
So that was the first time?
It was the first time. And it was also the first time the Royal Opera had an audience that looked like that came.
So what was the audience like? A mixed audience?
It was a mixed audience, and a lot of black people coming to the Opera House for the first time.
Because of you?
Because of Gustavia, because of this story, because of we made history with this,
yes.
And people felt like they felt welcomed.
Yes.
Because now they could see somebody that they could
relate with.
Exactly, and that's the thing. I always said the same thing. The audience is always there, but you need to put out stories that also speak to them, and they will come. And people pulled up. Like all the shows were sold out. There was no seats left.
Wow.
Sold out.
Is this why they're bringing that show back?
Of course, it was so big. And trust me, you don't want to be the one that didn't watch it. Trust and believe.
What's the date?
29th of May is the first, yeah.
So around that time, everyone should be getting ready to see Gustavia.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's round this up with some few Afro-community stuff. How are you able to influence? Because I don't think the African community is much into cinemas as the main the Swedish community. How are you able to influence Africans to take on the habit of coming to cinemas to see films like that, like the ones you've made, and come to a ballet like the Gustavia?
For us, it's more like we're putting out the work, putting in the work, and making it to the big stages. But the audience have to pull up, because there's so much that I can do, but I can't.
You cannot do everything.
You understand?
You have to work with everyone.
We need to work out. So everybody needs to put in the effort. But people pull up to the Gustavia because they knew that we are part of it, and we also told them that everything that we touch, you can feel safe that you're gonna be proud about it.
Yeah.
And also with the Cinema Africa Film Festival, because that's like one of the moments where we can gather and take pride in everything we do.
Yeah, Cinema Africa. How's that been, being a member of the board?
It's been good. It's been rough also. It's been heavy work. But it's been fun at the same time, because every year we get reminded about the important work that we do when we meet the audience and everybody pull up, and the love and the support that we receive. So it's worth it.
How do you pick your art, your films for the Cinema Africa Film Festival?
Number we have people send them in, and then we have they send them in, and then we'll also do some research.
Okay, and you pick.